Oh, we're. Uh-oh. Who's recording me? Any, so I got to be careful what I say. Anyway, it's my clock says it's 2:03, so we probably ought to start. And the agenda said that we go through introductions, and I don't know, on my screen, Mark Kelly, you're at the top, so you want to start. We'll go around the room or around the screen, and as it is, and introduce everybody.
Sounds good. And appropriately, at least on my screen, I'm Patty Adair's neighbor, which I am in real life too. So I'm Mark Kelly. I'm an almost retired construction lawyer living near Sisters.
Well, I'm Jerry Milstead, and I am a retired project manager, Mark. So as of
Is that official now?
yep, that's official. They fired me at Crook County, so I was done at the end of June. So
Yet you're on a call talking about the next building project. You can't help it, huh?
yeah. Well, you never know, Tony. Just like Mike, you know, Mike's heard this before. That's the reason he made his remark. But no, I think this is it. Wayne, you're next.
Wayne Powderly, Cumming Management Group, owner's rep for Deschutes County on the courthouse extension.
And Eric.
Yeah, hi, Eric Nielsen, Deschutes County Facilities, Capital Improvement Manager.
Well, welcome. You're new to this county, are you not?
I am, yeah, I started in April.
Okay. Well, welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike Gorman with LRS Architects.
And Commissioner Adair.
Yes, Patty Adair, Jerry and Mark's neighbor in between. And actually, we have 5 acres burning south of China Hat with the U.S. Forest Service and the sheriff. Yeah, right now.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing, I think, over here. Nick.
Nick Lilac, County Administrator.
Whitney.
Hello, everybody. Whitney Hale, Deputy County Administrator.
And Lee.
Lee Randall, Facilities Director.
Jim.
I'm Jim Starnes. I think probably the newest member of the Facilities Review Committee. Retired after 42 years at Portland General Electric. Started as a janitor, worked through just about all the union jobs, construction line, got into engineering, and ended up managed the project management office. So we did generation, transmission, distribution projects.
Good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Commissioner DeBone.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tony DeBone. Our job right now is to make sure the money's going to be there when it gets designed so we can go build it. So I'm looking forward to getting this the courthouse project off the ground.
Yeah, that would be good if you had the money to pay these guys. John Williamson.
John Williamson, Pence Contractors will be the GC on the courthouse project.
So I guess you're glad to hear what Commissioner DeBone had to say, John, that you are going to get some money, huh?
Yeah, our trade partners work faster when they get paid, for sure.
Oh, well, we got half of it in the bank. We're working on the other half right now.
We'll build the first half.
Kent. Kent.
Hi there, Kent Vanderkamp from Deschutes County Sheriff's Office and Central Oregon Drug Enforcement. I also own a residential and commercial finance company.
And Mark.
Mark Nishaw, construction superintendent.
And at least last of pictures I've got is Renee. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Jerry. Renee Alexander, BBT Architects, and part of the committee.
So I don't know who wants to take lead on this. We've got a couple of projects before the courthouse that were on the agenda. And I don't know, Lee, are you or Eric, who's gonna?
Yes,
fill us in on these?
I will take the lead on that. And I did notice we have the minutes from the January 12th.
Oh,
meeting.
yes, okay,
You want to address
sorry.
those?
Yeah, I've read them. I don't know if the rest of you guys have read them too. I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes from January's meeting.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes of the January 12th, 2023 meeting.
I will second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Anybody disagree? Do it that way. Okay, the meeting minutes have been approved. Okay, thanks, Lee. Now it's yours.
Okay, so my goal is to move quickly through the update for the North County campus and the parole probation project. I'll be following the summary that I provided to the committee. I'll do a summary for each project and then scroll through some pictures and answer any questions and then move on to the next. So beginning with the North County campus, I'll just review a few of the high points. It was a construction manager general contractor project. The 244 building, substantial completion was in June and grand opening in early July. It will house the behavioral health department and Mosaic Medical Primary Care Clinic. 236 Kingwood, the first floor will be public health clinic with some other shared county services and a 911 backup dispatch center on the second floor. Substantial completion on 236 Kingwood is scheduled for late October. To continue the update on the budget, the project, both projects are under the same CMGC guaranteed maximum price. And we're currently still trending under budget. We have some of the construction contingency is a small amounts remaining, and then for each project. And then we have some owner's contingency remaining that we do not expect to need to use for either project. So we're moving forward. The total construction budget for 244 Kingwood is $3,465,000. And that includes one change order for a drop space for intensive youth services. And that portion of the project is the change order was for $498,996. And that portion of the project is being funded directly by health services. Another note on the funding, the 911 dispatch center and the associated tower and other infrastructure for 911 is being funded directly by the 911 service district. Few other, I think I've captured the highlights for 244 and 236. Any questions on those highlights? And then I'll move into some project update photos. Okay. So I will share my screen and we will start with second here. We'll start with some exterior photos and we'll move through other photos on the North County campus, and then we'll move forward to the PMP project. And I think whoever's hosting, could you enable the share screen, please?
Whitney, I think, isn't she?
I think Angie is running the show today, and Lee, I think you should have that shortly.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, and while we're waiting, Phil Chang, I didn't, your audio, not audio, your video wasn't turned on. So I just now saw your name on my screen. So you wanna say hello to everybody? There. Sorry.
Everyone, it's County Commissioner Phil Chang.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm gonna keep my video off because I'm having connectivity problems and it's easier to watch.
Okay. Well, like I said, sorry, you did, your picture wasn't there. Okay. Lee?
Okay, so this is 244 Kingwood. The two buildings share a site. And we'll see some photos of 236 as well. This is at the back of the property, and on the right, you have the main entrance to behavioral health. And then this will be the entrance to the Intensive Youth Services drop program, which is an area where youth can drop in and receive services or hang out or work with peers. And that will be about 1,800 square feet, 1,872, I believe, of that portion of the building. See if I can move through the photos here. This is an outdoor area for either behavioral health clinicians to meet with clients or for staff to relax.
The Newhouse Manufacturing has some of their partial projects or old stuff right in the backyard there. That's the parcel behind it.
Yep. And I've often joked that recreating that kind of scene is very, very expensive. So we did not shield it. We want the full aesthetic effect of the industrial chic look there.
There
on the
you
backside.
go.
And I'm just kidding, but it is, we are surrounded by Newport Manufacturing there. This will just give you a quick sense of the footprint of behavioral health Mosaic, and then what is labeled as St. Charles. They have been leasing the space, and that will be dedicated to the drop. Moving on with photos. We just have a few interior photos. That's the law enforcement entrance for folks that are in crisis. They can be dropped off there, similar to the stabilization center, but only during business hours. And this is one hallway for behavioral health. This is the inside of the Mosaic Clinic. A lab area there. This is a drop-in space on the back of the building. You can notice it previously was a surgery center, and we've added quite a bit of lighting there. Yep, and I think that's the extent of my pictures for 244 to 236. So starting with the upstairs 911 backup dispatch center, this photo just shows where each of the consoles will be. There'll be a total of 9 consoles, a supervisor office area, a kitchenette, and a conference room. Forward, these are some under construction photos, break room, exam room, and then this is the exterior of the building. Okay, moving on to, I'll stop screen sharing here.
That's quite a rock.
Moving on to any questions on North County campus. I'll move on to parole and probation.
So Lee, it's Mark. So on the budget, you're looking good on that. On the timing, it looks like we on 244 kind of missed the date, but no harm, no foul, because we still got it open during the summer. But 236, we're pushed back by almost 3 months, and that's because of electrical panel.
Yeah, yes, it is. The electrical, so we're upgrading the entire building to accommodate 911 and the backup generator. And so the electrical panel that's needed as part of the ATS, it's not the transfer switch itself, but needed as part of that, has been delayed. The project, we're actually doing the punch walk, I believe next week. So the project is nearly done. We'll have an extra long time to move in furniture and set up. But we won't have the final inspections and the TCO or certificate of occupancy until we have the electrical cut over to the new panels. So that is the delay. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Any other questions on the North County campus? Okay. Moving quickly through parole and probation. Second. I'll read from my notes here. We got the TCO on May 15th. So we've been moved in for a while and actually just had the grand opening. There's some ongoing work for the Sheriff's Office Wellness Center, but the full project, the main project is turned over. The shell space was completed. So related to the budget, we had the shell space, which was an increased scope of work, which we had discussed with the committee in January. The Sheriff's Office secure parking was also additional scope of work. And then finally, the Sheriff's Office wellness area. So those portions of the project were added to the scope of work. Any questions related to budget or scope of work increases?
That's a BLRB, wasn't it? With the architect Lee?
Yes, yeah. BLRB was the architect. As you may know, they're not functioning any longer. And the timing worked out just in time. The project was complete. I believe we had finished the punch list walk. Eric, you may be able to touch base on the timing there.
Yeah, we got through the addition, through the shell space, and probably 90% of the way through the wellness renovation. So it was kind of past the scope of BLRB's design work. So.
But I think Lee, I believe we've had this discussion, you and I, but any insurance issues for the county, you've resolved all of those issues with the architect and the county, between an architect and the county, correct?
Yeah, I'm not directly recalling our conversation, but we don't anticipate any issues related to insurance or BLRB's work generally. Was that the context for your question, Jerry?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Well, the person that your insurance really is based on the person that signs your documents, the architect and their license and so forth. That's the issue. And I think the young lady that signed the documents as the architect of record is no longer even with the replacement firm. I think she's quit everything.
Yeah.
And she,
Well, so Seth Anderson was the one that signed all those documents.
oh, was it? Okay. Oh, all right.
He's still in town under
Okay.
a new company. But.
Yep. So in terms of, I think as Eric mentioned, I think Eric actually just did the punch list walk for the Sheriff's Office wellness area today. So we anticipate turning that over probably next week. Is that right, Eric?
Yeah, that's probably accurate. They've received the final inspection. They just need to get kind of a final sign off once they have like an exit sign. So they're super close. They still need to move one of the detention fences. But yeah, other than the small little items to wrap up, they're pretty well done. And it's good to see Skanska's trailers out of there finally.
Okay. So if no other questions, I'll move on and we'll go through kind of a slideshow of the project.
Well, Lee, this is Mark again, and maybe Renee can help with this, but I didn't know about BLRB going under, but do they have a requirement in the contract for tail coverage or something? So if the building falls down, you've got, and you have a design claim that you've got some protection?
I would have to look into that to see, what level of protection we might have going forward. I haven't specifically looked at that question.
I believe the state statute is 10 years to be
Okay.
covered, and the person that signed the documents or the firm, which I know is no longer in existence, but there needs to be, you might want to just check into that just so you're covered with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because typically professionals like that would have a claims made policy, and if there's no policy, good luck with your claim. But usually in the contract, they'll have some kind of requirement for tail coverage in case of something bad. So that's something maybe to have county council look into or something. Just you see what your rights and protections are.
Who'd you say signed the documents, Lee?
Seth Anderson.
Is he part of the new? Okay. I see Renee saying, yeah, so, okay, so that's, Mark, that would be where I would go to make sure that they had coverage for him that extended and took care of the county, but county council, Lee.
Okay. Yeah, we'll check into that. Any other questions related to the project or scope or budget? Okay, so I will share my screen and take you through a few highlight photos. Is that showing up for everyone?
Yeah.
So this is from the inside looking out, but this is part of the new lobby. I'll go back just for a moment. So through this door here would take you to the outside. This is kind of a shared common area leading both to the first floor sheriff's office and P&P area. This is the new second floor lobby. You can see the expansion joint here. This is the new portion, the expansion building of the project. And this is a spruced up existing lobby on the second floor. From the outside, this is from the south. This is the expansion itself and a portion of the front lawn and parking lot that the building was built out to. Close up. This area here is a multi-purpose meeting room. So there's an exterior entrance directly to the meeting room. Folks can go directly to it without going through the main lobby. And there's the new main lobby entrance for the building. Group room. First floor area leading to those group rooms with a small kitchenette. So this area is meant to be semi-secure. Clients that are coming to meetings can come into this area without accessing the rest of the building, but they're no longer in the main lobby. And then this is part of the upstairs where the two buildings meet.
The shell space.
I'm sorry, thanks. So let me go back there. Thanks, Eric. So this is the shell space looking to the outside or the door, the suite entrance door going to the hallway to the rest of the area. So this is kind of an open office area here with a restroom, and then this is actually roof access. Shell space from another view with a small kitchenette, so it could function as a separate suite. And then this actually is the sheriff's office wellness area from a few weeks ago. And I don't have a lot of update pictures for that area, but that is the general quick tour of the building. Any questions? I I did move fairly quickly because we're hoping to spend the bulk of the time on the courthouse. So any follow-up questions to the first two updates? Otherwise, I'll turn it over to Wayne Powderly and we'll move on to the courthouse. Okay, Wayne, I will let you take it from there.
Share my screen here. I might need permission. Yeah, I need permission for sharing.
Wayne, Angie just sent me a message. You should be good to go.
Okay. You guys can see my screen, okay?
Yes.
All right. So let me scan down here for a second. So we'll start with introductions to the project team. Not the whole team is here, not here today, but we've got our presenters from each one of the team members. We'll briefly touch on the project scope, give you guys an update on that. And the design update, I'll hand it over to Michael. He can talk about latest floor plans and layout. We have a quick timeline graph to show you the schedule update. We'll talk about the budget update as well and the two estimates of value engineering that we've gone through already. And we've got a couple of photos, I believe, of the life-size mock-up that we did up at the fairgrounds for one of the courtrooms. And then I'll hand it over to John at Pence for the use of Matterport, which was very handy, basically doing a 3D VR as-built of the existing courthouse, which came in very handy on several occasions. So we've already introduced ourselves. I'll touch on it again. Lee with Deschutes County, myself with Cumming Management with the owner's rep, Mike Gorman from LRS, the architects on the project, and John Williamson, Pence Contractors, the GC. And for those of you that are new that weren't involved with the meeting back in January, just a quick description on the scope. We are adding a little over 50,000 square feet. 3 stories with a basement onto the south end of the existing building. We're going to have 2 new courtrooms. We'll have new administration area, new security screening and check-in at the front lobby area, new in custody holding and Sally port down in the basement. Also, right beside that in the basement is a new secured interior parking for the judges and for staff. And then on the 3rd level, we'll actually have shell space for future expansion for 2 future courtrooms at some point in the future when needed.
And Wayne, if I may, the last bullet point looks like we didn't update that from a previous slide, but we're currently at 50,088 square feet in terms of the official. Over the past 3 months, we've slowly shaped space from the project.
Yeah, we went through that in value engineering exercise. We were able to shape a little bit more square footage off of there without jeopardizing the needs of the courthouse. So yeah, you're correct. We're just above 50,000 now. I'll hand it over to Mike here at this point. Mike, you can kind of talk about the latest floor plan layout.
So this is the basement level. And so we did include secure parking for the judges. We've got like, I think 11 parking spaces down there now in the secure environment. We also added the new Sally port, which can handle larger vehicles versus the existing one that could not. So we basically have, so we can get the 2 vans in there. And then we have the holding area, which is directly adjacent to it. And of course, part of the thing for those who hadn't already heard it is, there's 3 main circulation paths in a courthouse. And you really don't want those paths to cross each other. So we have the secure parking so the judges can come up vertically through the building. Staff also can use that to get up through. So it's kind of more the back of the house. So they're not having to cross paths with the public or in custody. As part of the holding cell area, we have an in custody elevator that goes all the way up to the top floor. and it comes up between courtrooms. We have courtroom sets. And so that holding, you go from the main holding cell up to the courtroom holding cell and then to the courtroom. And then we added 2 new elevators because obviously more courtrooms, more folks being there, as well as the old elevator is pretty old and slow and not working that great. So we added those vertical for the pedestrian, or for the public to go up and down on that ground floor, as well as the ground floor or the basement level also has the jury assembly area, so they can easily come in through security when we get to the first level, drop down and go into the jury assembly area. So that's kind of the ground floor. And of course, we have support spaces there as needed. So on the main level, one of the things that we opted to do, because right now when you go to the courthouse, you have to go up a bunch of steps to get to the main lobby. We brought the lobby down to grade. So we wanted you to come in at street level, makes it a little bit nice, story and a half volume. There's some stacking area outside that's covered before you come into a larger vestibule. And then you come into the stacking area to go through security. Now, right now, we only feel we're only going to need 1 security lane, but obviously we're trying to plan for the future. Especially if there's a high profile thing going on, then we got the 2 accesses to get through security. So when you get past security, then you can go up the stairs, or you can go up the ramp, or you can go up the elevator. So we have 3 different ways of getting up to the main level. Once we get to the main level, if you go left, you go into the existing courthouse where we have 4 courtrooms. We took the old clerk area and made a hearings room and some other meeting spaces. So we repurposed that area. The old Sally Port, which is up in the upper left corner, is now the IT area. So basically reconfigured that for the IT folks. And then going over to the new building, when you come up the stairs, we also have direct security from the sheriffs looking down. So we kind of have this, double-eyed thing up for security. Before we kind of get into where all the clerks and everything, the court administration is to the right, where we have the back of house staff. And then we also have the 6 window stations for anyone having to do the businesses there and stuff. And then of course we have the support spaces for the staff. We added restrooms for them. We added a break room for them. So like I said, they can go vertical at the stairs, or they can go vertical with the elevator as well there. So increases a little bit of circulation, as well as we have a direct from that area over to the other older part of the building and stuff, where they kind of do that a little bit more back of the house. And the next level is the courtroom. And so we kind of mentioned that we put courtrooms in sets, so pairs of 2s. And so between them is where we have the elevator coming up from the holding, the basement holding, and there's 2 holding cells between. And that way, because currently right now we have to transport in custody, they got a sheriff with them. Some of them might be in chains, maybe they're going across the open lobby. It's it doesn't look very good. Obviously everyone's presumed to be innocent and stuff. So this way is a little bit back of the house. So now they can come out without their chains on or whatever else, and sat down at the table and stuff real simply and easily and stuff. And then the back of the courtroom spaces is where we have the jury assembly. We also have the judges. We're kind of pushing towards having 3 judge chambers for 2 courtrooms. Obviously, try maximizing the use of the courtrooms. A little bit, a push to get the judges to kind of get on board with that, but that's pretty much what is kind of going across the country, just to make use of the space better. And we only went with 1 jury assembly or 1 jury room per floor. And this gets repeated on the 3rd floor. Like I said, the 3rd floor is just a shell at this particular point. So basically it'll look exactly like this. And of course, right now on the 2nd floor, we have the connection to the 2nd floor of the existing courthouse, which has the 4 courtrooms there. as well. So we did get some good news from the city today. We had put in an alternate means and methods. You know, we're combining buildings, that adds complexity, and we were gonna have to put a very expensive firewall up between the buildings, and we were able to propose an alternate means to get rid of it. So we just think we saved the project probably about $150,000 today. So it was kind of nice.
But
And,
what's your,
what?
what was your alternate? So you don't have to build a rated wall. So what's your alternate?
Well, our alternate, we went back through the building and made a case for how the existing building was built, which happens to be concrete columns, concrete core planks with topping slab. The building is basically considered non-combustible, except for on the second floor, they use TJIs in the support areas. The courtroom's obviously upstairs, everyone knows it's kind of heavy timber, so we kind of comply with that. But they did make where they put the TJIs 1 hour rated. So we kind of made a case on that. You know, obviously the new building is completely non-combustible. It's concrete, pre-stressed concrete or post-tension concrete structure, all non-combustible and everything else. So the combination of some other things we also proposed, they agreed with. So, so it was kind of nice to get that. So then we go to the exterior elevation. And that's kind of what we're looking like right now, or what it is looking like. There's the corner view looking across. We kind of have the lower area, like I said, it's a story and a half where the entrance is. You can still see the existing 2003 edition. The 2000 or the 1977 edition gets a little bit more hidden. And so we have kind of the darker stone brick base, and then we have the lighter panel up above. And so I think it's, you know, like it looks pretty nice. And then we also getting rid of the parking in the front, pretty much along the entire Bond Street from the corner down to the end of the building. And we are pulling the curb out where the parking was to kind of create a little bit of a plaza, as well as a separation from vehicles to the building. Obviously, everyone knows about the car that went 70 miles an hour and flipped and landed on the bicycle covered area. We've got these nice concrete kind of seating walls in the front, which act as our vehicle deterrent from anybody trying to ram the building in any shape or form type of thing. And then along Greenwood, we actually have a wider area there. We did have a bus stop there, which we're relocating. Obviously, you know, we mentioned before, we had talked to Homeland Security before, and they gave recommendations to us. You know, we couldn't obviously get to everything because, you know, they would suggest that we would have the building in the middle of a, you know, 40-acre plot of land, and it's the dead center of it. So obviously we can't do that. But that's the look right there at Greenwood, obviously with the landscaping and the brick walls coming down, and then you get the back of the house. You got the doors to go into the parking garage, into the Sally Port. And so we kind of followed what goes on downtown Bend right now. If you look at the architecture there, a lot of those buildings or the properties down there are 25 feet wide or 50 feet wide, and they're all owned by these different families and stuff like that. And so they're all different. And so that's what we kind of tried to create with the elevation. It was like, how do you tie it to the 2003 edition? How do you tie it to the 1977 edition? And so we kind of went and followed that course of action. Anyone got any questions? So here's a view of the inside of the courtroom. Obviously, from our tours and everything else, we really worked through trying to get the sight lines figured out down to the inches, as well as to meet ADA and everything. It was definitely challenging. We would have liked to have a little bit wider courtrooms, but with the footprint that we have to work with, we couldn't quite get there. So we cut the courtrooms down a little bit in width. But I think they'll still function. And obviously from our mock-up. Everybody was able to get a chance and sit in all the different positions and stuff, and actually physically see what the thing is going to feel like for that visual. And all the judges and everyone were agreeable with that, and so that was the important part and stuff. So, but yeah, we also did 3Ds. We have a virtual reality here, so we had all the folks come here and actually can walk through the building. They can walk through the entrance. Here's the lobby. When you come through, you got the glass kind of partitions to kind of queue people up, and then you got the security and the safety measures there. We're using CLT and glue lamps for the lobby area, just to kind of give it a little bit more Central Oregon feel and warmth, which we feel is going to come off really well. But like I said, we had the virtual reality. Everybody could actually walk through the building, and they could sit there and walk, through the entire building and all the different spaces and actually see everything. So that was a real positive for everybody to get a feel of what the space is going to look like before it actually gets built.
All right. We'll touch on the timeline here real quick. So right now we are in the middle of CDs. We just got 50% CDs issued by Mike and Paul a couple weeks ago, or last week actually. So they're continuing through the rest of the CDs. Should have 90% set issued in September. And that's the set that'll go into the city for permit review. And then the goal is we've got it stepped in a phased permit review request to the city. Hopefully we'll be able to do some of the early work, like the demolition of the AJ Tucker building and some utility work and setting up logistics, the barriers and the temporary entrance before the end of the year, hopefully starting around December 1st. And that early work will carry us through December, January, February, and then hopefully have full permit in hand by March and be hitting the ground running full speed in March 2024.
When's your GMP?
GMP, we are shooting for early November, right about November. By the time we get the 90% set issued out, and we've got some early trade partners coming on board. John can talk a little bit about that. And they get that whole process hard bid out. We'll have a GMP established, early November.
But so at 90% CDs?
Yeah, we'll have 90% coming out middle of September.
So that's your GMP is at 90% CDs, not 100%.
Correct.
Okay.
Related to that, I had a question about, I think last time we met, you were working on estimates. How did the estimate come out in DD, and whereabouts are you? Because I did some math and anyway, so just curious about that. I also have a lot of other questions, but I'll start with that one since it's related to Jerry.
No problem. We did a full round of estimates. We had two different companies. We had Pence do a separate estimate from LRS's sub-consultant estimating company. We did one at the end of SD's, and we were over budget, kind of what we expected. But through value engineering at the end of SD's, we got that back down to budget. And then similarly, just last month, we got the design development drawings finished at the end of June. And then through July, went through the estimating process again and value engineering again, because we were still over budget. But again, through value engineering, got that back to, we're pretty close within, like you said, John, a rounding error of the budget right now. So we've got the 40.5 million on the new expansion and the 1.5 million for the remodel of the existing areas. So we're still set there, looking good.
Thank you.
That's total cost. Construction costs were down like a 33 something.
Oh,
yeah, hard cost construction cost is about 34.5.
Yeah,
that helps with the dollars per square foot. Thank you.
Yeah,
I was a little concerned about that, so thank you.
Yeah.
So you said when you said trade partners, what are you anticipating?
Pence is working on that right now. We want to bring on Earthworks sub. Like I mentioned, we want to get a jump on the early work on the demo and the underground utilities that have to get rerouted to keep the existing building functioning. So earthwork, electrical, because we know there's some crazy lead times on switchgear and transformers and all that good stuff, crazy long lead time items. So we're trying to get ahead of that. And then mechanical and plumbing as well. We know there's some long lead times on the mechanical equipment as well.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, yeah, Lee had already mentioned the first project was delayed occupancy because of you didn't have any electricity for it.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. We're trying to get ahead of that as much as we can.
The other thing is the requirements, the IT requirements of the state for your courtrooms. The lead times on that is probably worse than your switchgear and your generators is the lead time on some of that IT stuff required by the state.
Yeah, we've had several stakeholder meetings with all the different IT departments from the state and from the county, and working with PAE, electrical engineers. So yeah, we're PAE, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but I think they're on schedule still to finish their drawings next month.
Yep.
So we should have all the IT scope figured out. And then with bringing on the electrical sub under Pence next month as well, we'll be able to hopefully get a jump on all that IT lead time ordering.
I have just a couple other quick ones. Last time we met, I think I asked about offsite improvements and you hadn't gotten there yet. Has the city, what are the requirements that the city's mandated for offsite improvements, if any? And my other question is, with the new energy code, are you having to bring your envelope up at your existing building at all? How you're addressing the envelope requirements for existing buildings?
I'll let you take those, Mike.
Yeah, so the off-street, we have not got anything back from the city on that. Obviously, we're doing the front part on Bond Street. And then on Greenwood, we'll probably just have to replace the sidewalk because obviously we'll probably damage it during construction. As well as I think right now it's pavers, and so the city doesn't want the pavers, they want concrete. So as far as we know, there's no additional things from our meetings from the city in terms of off-street. And then on the energy code, we were able to get the building to comply. Obviously, we got continuous exterior insulation, we got our wall insulation, we got our very thick roof insulation on it and stuff. So we were able to get it to comply, and PAE was able to work through it as its own building, is my understanding.
Thank you.
I'll just mention real quickly, currently the energy model, so we are enrolled in the Energy Trust of Oregon New Buildings Program, and currently the energy model is showing us at around 30 to 32% better than the code minimum, and around 24% better than the ETO technical guidelines. And so part of that were some targets that LRS set early on for the project. So things like the exterior envelope, and then also R40 roof insulation, which exceeds code, and several other items. So we're pretty excited that the buildings that we're working within the parameters of the budget, and also achieving some of those sustainability initiatives.
I'll add on to that. Sorry, go ahead, Renee.
I was just going to say that's fantastic. Thanks for answering my questions.
And I'll just add one more comment on that. We have the GET, Green Energy Technology requirement at 1.5% of the total cost of the project, which is about $600,000. We're in the middle of getting that designed, and I'll be sending out an RFP here real soon to solar subs to do a $600,000 system up at the fairgrounds. So we're going to add that on to the, I believe it's the south and middle sister buildings at the fairgrounds as part of this project.
Good.
All right.
Wayne, this Mark Kelly, I have just maybe a quick question on the summary. The written summary would talk about a final stakeholder design meeting August 23. Is that just to kind of get approval for the changes you've been talking about, or is there a chance we're going to head off in some different directions that'll have an effect on cost or timing or anything else?
Sorry, I wasn't aware of a stakeholder meeting on August 23rd.
Okay.
Lee, you want to tell me about that?
That was scheduled while you were on vacation. I'm happy to take
Okay,
that
sorry.
So,
All right.
really what that is it's the same group that we've been working with all along. So to answer your question, we don't anticipate any changes in direction, or there may be a few minor tweaks, but that group is the Sheriff's Office Court Security, presiding judge and trial court administrator, the Facilities Department on the maintenance and side of things, as well as a few other court staff. So it's a fairly small group that has been involved from the programming stage. So this final design meeting is just to run past them the 50% CD stage documents, make sure that we've addressed all of the questions or concerns that may have come up earlier.
Cool. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Well, I've got a I got a couple of comments that probably, maybe there's only two people in the room that might agree with me, but the city council, the city council band has brought some stuff up about natural gas fired appliances. And I don't know where they are with it, but I know what PAE has done in a couple of projects. But in my opinion, there's nothing more efficient for providing your building heat than gas-fired boilers. And as far as domestic hot water is concerned, same thing is gas-fired hot water heaters. However, that's not what's being done in some of the commercial buildings around Central Oregon, and because of this business that natural gas is a bad actor, which that's what I disagree with. It is the most efficient. It's for maintenance and also for actual initial installation. So I don't know where you are or where PAE is with this stuff, but that's what I would recommend that this building have is gas-fired boilers and gas-fired domestic hot water.
Yeah, Mike, have you heard anything from the city regarding that? I haven't heard that.
Nope, haven't heard anything.
Our current basis of design is condensing boilers, Jerry, gas fired, and the hot water heat. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we're still gas fired for hot water as well.
Yeah,
correct.
We wanted to make sure that we left no stone uncovered. So part of PAE's early analysis was electric versus gas.
Yep.
And for this size of building and given our location, the increase in the electric service was really not viable for this particular building. And so, but early on, the team did analyze whether or not going all electric was even possible. And it would have been extremely challenging given our location and the size of the building. So, but the team did look at that and early on in the project.
Good.
Just being mindful of our time. I know we're coming up on 2 o'clock. We can wrap up, I think, our portion. We're at Matterport, and I think that goes to John, and then any final questions from the group.
Yeah, I just make a quick comment on Matterport. We did have the opportunity to do a pretty detailed scan of the entire existing court facility, not the gray courthouse, but all phases of the red courthouse, if you will. And it's been a pretty useful tool. You can see in these images, none of the floor plates really line up with one another. So with, consultant trades, both regional and local, having an ability to do some fly-throughs, take measurements, and really walk through this building time and time again without having to disturb the occupants has been very helpful.
Yeah, you even found some secret, what was it? It was, the dumbwaiter. They found a secret dumbwaiter back in the building that wasn't on any drawings. But after they went through and did their VR Matterport readings, Paul and Mike were like, what the heck is that thing in the corner? So it was good. It showed us a bunch of skeletons in the closet.
It's been very valuable because we can instantly, when we're sitting there having design conversations or whatever else, we can sit there and pull it up and go right to the area we're thinking about and look and go, no, see, it's this way or that way and stuff. So it's been very helpful, speeding up the process, not having to run back out to the building or whatever else and stuff. So it's been great. Great tool.
That's the end of our presentation. Any other questions?
So, yes, and this, I guess, is for John Williamson. When your trades, what have you got in mind about selecting these, whoever, your mechanical, electrical guys? And your digger too. I assume your dirt movers got the similar process.
Yeah, we're actually, you'll see it advertised this week, just going out on the street now for design assist trade partners for those trades you mentioned. And the purpose of that is get them engaged so that obviously we can start getting in front of some of these long lead procurement challenges, but also have some partners at the table for, when Mike's team's putting a bow on the design to validate a lot of the coordination items between all those entities. So we anticipate having those trade partners on board first part of September. So as that permit set comes out early next month, we can do a deep dive on it. And then the bidding documents will have the benefit of their involvement for better part of 4 weeks, putting their stamp on it. And again, just helping to increase the quality of the design.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody has? Hey, well, thanks, you guys. A good presentation. And shall we adjourn?
Thank you
So-
very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
See you
everyone.
guys.
Talk to you later. Bye.
But
Everyone.